Good afternoon, everyone. We're starting to see people trickle in, expecting a few more people as we go, but thank you all for joining us this afternoon. My name is Danny Comas, and this presentation is AI for your organization, getting started with Copilot. A little bit about me to get started today. I'm a strategic consultant with GoodellNet, who has been with the organization for about 3 years now. Worked in IT for a long time at this point, but I've really been excited and just captivated by the possibilities that AI and Copilot can bring to organizations. And I wanted to share a little bit of that with you all today. So my big question in this, and what I always come back to, is why do we advocate for the use of Copilot within organizations? And why is this the best time to start adopting Copilot and AI in general for your organization? So, as all of us know, AI today is being integrated into the workplace in every industry. According to the St. Louis Fed, as of August 2024, 28.1% of US workers were using AI for work. That same study revealed that 33% of those workers, or that those same workers were 33% more productive when using generative AI tools. Regardless of how we feel about it personally, it's important to note that AI is here. It's in your industry, it's in your company, and now we just want to start getting our heads around how do we really control this and build this into what we're doing across the board. Microsoft Copilot is a great tool for this because it gives you all of those tool sets while incorporating that into your primary 365 environment. Copilot is a productivity multiplier. Instead of just replacing what your employees can do, Copilot amplifies what all of your employees can do on a day-to-day basis by taking away a lot of those administrative back-end things that people need to do that just take a lot of time and building in a lot more general productivity. As a strategic consultant, I spend so much of my day on meetings, commonly going back to back for honestly 2 to 3 hours at a time, 30-minute increments. And it's really hard to just track along with all of the things that I have to follow up on, get meeting notes out to different groups and to attendees, and ensure that everyone tracks all of the to-dos that come out of these calls as well. Copilot is the ultimate tool for ensuring that we are getting that type of productivity out of our meetings. Through the use of transcription, Copilot will track all conversation throughout the meeting, identify to-dos for all party members, and also identify to-dos for people who are not in that meeting as well, and then provide summarized notes at the end of that meeting. This can be shared out between everyone who is in that meeting as well as stakeholders in general. The big takeaway here is that we can essentially figure out how we can cut all of that note-taking time, general sharing time out of the equation for your employees and allow them to focus on that high-level strategic work. So the big picture here, Copilot does for your organization exactly what we envision AI doing. It creates a secure environment first and foremost. Enterprise-grade protection with data remaining in your tenant. Your data, no matter how you use it within Copilot, stays your data. It is not used to model for general LLM use or be built into other models outside of your organization. The big thing here is that it gives you the power of these AI tools while keeping your data safe within your 365 tenant, exactly as we have in SharePoint for years at this point. Huge win on that front. Cost aspect, Copilot provides you with clear ROI through time savings and just productivity gains. So while there is some considerable licensing fees up front, that does put you into the boat of just immediate savings on the back end by cutting down the time from summary time for meetings and getting everything put together neatly and nicely with clean takeaways for all of your employees. With this also working as part of your 365 tenant, integration is a snap. We don't have to go through and upload individual files into an agent in order for that agent to read those files and do any type of analysis off of them. Copilot allows you to do general queries across all of your data sets in SharePoint so that you can really cleanly and easily select your data, query it, and get the outputs that you're looking for to help you with decision making and general processes going forward. Finally, having all this again in that 365 tenant creates an adoption framework that is much simpler than using outside tools like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Anthropic's Claude. Since Copilot is built directly into your tenant, it has all the access to those major pieces that you're using every single day. Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, all of that directly at your fingertips, just querying Copilot, and it has access to all of your work data immediately. So that brings us to the quick wins. I think my favorite thing about Copilot is that day one, you can start seeing those ROI returns. Versus a lot of other tools where it takes time and training to get most of your employees up to speed, Copilot is quick and intuitive. And again, with having all of your data sets immediately connected to it, you can go into it and immediately start seeing those returns. Starting off with Microsoft Facilitator. Facilitator is the Copilot tool within Microsoft Teams that is built directly into your meeting function in Teams. A couple of things that it can do for us. Generates meeting summaries and task lists, which can be easily shared with all attendees and stakeholders. As part of our demonstration today, we're not really going to be able to go outside of our PowerPoint environment just due to some technological constraints that we were having this morning. But one of the things that we want to show you is following this call, we will share out with you guys a summary generated by Facilitator so you can see a little bit of kind of what is produced automatically and how quickly we can get that out to those users as a meeting follow-up. It also allows your team to get all of the benefits of a face-to-face meeting with all the accountability of an email. We can go into this and have those direct conversations face-to-face, be able to communicate directly, see the person that we're communicating with, and understand how we are being perceived and those pieces of communication that commonly get lost in email, while still maintaining that track of the conversation, maintaining those to-do lists, and making sure that whatever we generate within that meeting actually makes it into production and we get those follow-up tasks completed. And it does all of this while reducing the amount of time that employees dedicate to notes and follow-ups. I spoke a little bit earlier about the time commitment that I put in with my clients. And I think this is one of those things where we talk about those like 30-minute back-to-back meetings. One of the things that we can commonly miss out on is just making sure that we get all of those pieces picked back up. With Copilot, it makes that so much simpler because I can go through 3 hours, so 6 30-minute back-to-back meetings, and have fully generated notes for all of those meetings separated out and a task list at the end of it. I don't have to go look back at handwritten notes or type notes, anything along those lines. I can take that time and focus on my client and ensure that I'm giving them the high-level strategic focus that they deserve. Copilot also, day one, helps you decide with a little bit better confidence in whatever your decision-making process is. Copilot being built directly into Excel as a feature of Microsoft 365 allows you to start with simple analysis of spreadsheets to help make your decision making process a little bit simpler, a little bit faster, and help you feel more confident about the decisions that you're making. What I really love about that fact is you can just take things that are fairly complex and really break this down using natural language. You no longer have to be an expert in Excel or understand Python or other coding languages in order to manipulate that data. As long as your data is formatted in a table within Excel, you can go right in and start querying that data just as you would ask a data analyst to query it for you and have those results come back to you. Generally speaking, this is a bit on the simpler side for its use cases. We want to make sure that we are being clear and straightforward with what we're doing, but we see a lot of positive results immediately on that forefront. When we get into a little bit more complicated tasks, we can use Microsoft Researcher and Analyst. Researcher helps you tackle complex, multi-step research at work, delivering insights with greater quality and accuracy than previously possible. It combines OpenAI's deep research model with Microsoft 365's Copilot's advanced orchestration and deep search capabilities. You can use research to build a detailed go-to-market strategy based on the context of all your work data and broader competitive data from the web. Researcher is a tremendous tool for those more complex tasks. If we're talking about market analysis and just data analysis in general, Researcher is a tool that allows you to combine your work files within 365 and what is currently existing out on the internet to give you the best results and build out exactly what you are looking for. On the other end of it, we also have Analyst, which is our higher end model for deep data set analysis. Analyst thinks like a skilled data scientist. So you can go from raw data to insights in minutes. Built on OpenAI's O3 mini reasoning model and optimized to do advanced data analysis at work, Analyst uses chain of thought reasoning to progress through problems iteratively, taking as many steps as necessary to refine its reasoning and provide a high quality answer that mirrors human analytical thinking. Super powerful tools. Generally speaking, I wanted to keep this section focused on our quick wins and early adoption pieces. And I think this is one of those areas where while Researcher and Analyst benefit from more time with training and being able to sit down and spend more time with those tools to really maximize our output, these are still tools that can be used day one to start maximizing that ROI. We see these returns right away all of the time, and we definitely want to encourage the openness to experiment with those models as people start playing in the Copilot space. Prioritization and planning. As we've already kind of discussed, just the in-meeting features that Copilot provides, there are so many wonderful ways that Copilot allows you as an individual user to make better use of your time. Me, for example, I'm here today talking to you guys, and it has taken me a good bit away from my email, my team's messages throughout the day. I am sitting here perfectly comfortable with that fact. Whereas a year ago, I think that would give me cold sweats just thinking about all of the stuff that I would have to make up. Today, I know I can go into Outlook immediately following this and just say, hey, catch me up on what's important. I can go into Teams and say, hey, catch me up on all the things that I've missed throughout the day. Having that analysis that summary put in front of me cuts down on my follow-up time and tells me what are the important things that I need to make sure that I am addressing with the rest of my workday before we head into the weekend. So much better in these moments for just trusting that I have something to keep me on track, even when I have a 4-hour drive ahead of me back to St. Louis this afternoon. Wonderful. Another great thing that we can do immediately with Copilot is start working on draft generation. Um, One thing that we have helped a couple of clients with over their Copilot journeys is using Copilot to help clean up compliance. Using existing templates and existing policies, you can upload those into Word and then provide it with a prompt to say, we are looking to come up with a new policy based off of this model using similar language. So we're now generating brand new policies to be reviewed by humans after generation, to be tweaked and implemented quickly and easily. This also helps in policy reviews. Annual policy reviews are obviously an important thing for any organization, and Copilot really helps you get to the heart of that. By inputting the things that you're concerned about in a changing world, you can have Copilot help make suggestions on what should be changed within your policies to help you stay up to date and keep you compliant. And again, these are the very easy day one things that we are hoping to, or that we are hoping to help you implement so that you can see that immediate ROI. Finally, one of the most powerful aspects of Copilot is the ability to find and access data. Since Copilot is built directly into your 365 tenant, it has that access to whatever you as a user have access to within your tenant. So I know I can set up Copilot to look at anything that I can see within my SharePoint environment. And also, I can query my SharePoint environment with questions on project updates, questions on company policy, or questions on data collection or questions about data collections so that I can start making better decisions moving forward. The indexing capabilities in Copilot, I think, are really one of the most powerful pieces out there. It can help reduce the amount of time that you spend searching for files astronomically. I think one example of this that I always go to is several years ago, working for a client, we threw together a server update file, and for the life of me, a coworker threw it together. I've looked at this file probably 200 times over the past 3 years, and yet I still have problems finding it at times. Going into Copilot, immediately being able to just put in like, hey, I'm looking for that file from that client that broke down all of their server infrastructure. Copilot can generate that or pull that back up immediately so that I can open that and not waste time looking through previously shared files from that coworker. It can sound like a little thing, but I think that's where the magic and power of Copilot lies. It takes all of these little conveniences and it packages it up into a product that will save you and your employees massive amounts of time during the workday. Yeah, so going back to this, we see a question coming out here. Does Analyst connect to my work data? It does. So because Analyst is built into or as a portion of Copilot, Analyst can see anything that you can see within your SharePoint environment. So I can call on files within my SharePoint environment into Analyst by just using the /search feature. And from there, I have all of those files immediately referenceable within whatever platform I'm looking at. Thank you very much for the question there, Vic. So I wanted to take a moment here and kind of shift our focus from just what Copilot is as a tool to getting started with Copilot and a little bit on how GoodellNet can help you with deploying Copilot in your organization. While Copilot is a very powerful tool that gives you access to an AI model that is embedded within your work environment, it's also generally pretty quick to use up front. We do want to ensure, though, that we are setting everything up within Copilot in a way that is safe and that we can ensure that we don't have any types of data leaks or anything that is coming out of this that is generating in ways that would be inappropriate. One of the main concerns that we hear when people first integrate Copilot into their environment is, what can users see? The quick and easy answer to that, or what can Copilot see within our environment? The easiest answer to that is Copilot isn't in your environment as an independent entity. It is an extension of a user. So if I have a Copilot license assigned to me as a user, that Copilot license can see everything, or that Copilot agent can see everything that I would be able to see in SharePoint. SharePoint, Teams, Outlook, any of my 365 suite. So with that, we want to ensure that we understand what our employees can and cannot see within our environments. A quick example of that. If we have an older HR folder that's living somewhere in SharePoint, we have no idea that this folder even exists because it's in some folder called Archive 2018 Data Transfer, and it's living 3 levels deep, and we don't know what's really in it because nobody really cares. But it's been saved to a general folder in our all team. Well, no one would think to look for sensitive HR data in this place. However, with Copilot, it brings up the possibility that through querying Copilot, this data could be pulled. So we want to ensure that we understand what our users have access to within an environment so that we can ensure that we don't have any of these random queries that are pulling things that maybe we don't want to be publicly available to our organization. So we go through a process to help organizations with successful Copilot deployments while keeping that type of security in mind. The first step of that is to really just sit down and define what success means for a Copilot deployment. We want to start off with setting clear objectives tied to organizational priorities. So what are our KPIs? What are we hoping to get out of this? Is it purely based off of ROI, or are we looking to improve employee experience by taking away some of the administrative burden that we feel during some meetings? We want to ensure that our KPIs are measurable as well, so that as we are going through, we can see what type of impact Copilot is having on our environment. Again, is that through employee surveys? Is this through time tracking? We have a lot of different ways that we can measure this type of data, and we just want to establish what those terms are up front. We help clients to develop both quantitative and qualitative success for measures. And then finally, we align those metrics with existing performance management systems. All in all, we just want to ensure that as we are going into this deployment process, it can be hard to really understand the impact that a tool like this is having in our environment. So we want to help to make sure that you have clear benchmarks set from the go to understand, hey, what is this investment that we're making and what are we seeing out of this investment? And we do that by first establishing your team for a pilot. Typically, when going through the pilot process, we like to establish what we call a COE, or a Center of Excellence. This will serve both as our initial pilot and also will grow into our initial AI governance team. Typically, we include HR, legal, and business representatives. And I always love that term when we throw that out there because business representatives can mean so many different things. So with that, we like to spread that out across departments where different people are going to have different use cases and functionalities. And we hope to see that represented across your organization in this initial pilot group. We also want to see an executive sponsor to support the pilot, for just organizational support, but also to ensure that this is something that the company as a whole or the organization as a whole is pushing towards. And finally, we'll help with establishing clear roles and responsibilities as part of this pilot to ensure that when we are walking away from the pilot or moving into that next step process, that we are accomplishing what we are trying to. All right, so we do this as we go through as part of that pilot process. We always start off with our Copilot security review. We do this in 4 stages, the first being the policy review, where we review and adjust data governance policies. So there are several different data policies that we look at for this deployment. Things like DLP, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment, but also just organizational data sharing policies, internal versus external access on our data. So really focusing on the SharePoint environment of that. And then also looking at the Teams policies as well, just to ensure that we understand kind of that general scope of visibility that a user's Copilot will have into the environment. We'll look at those individual permissions, making sure that those are tracked by group or by work role instead of individual users, so that we have a much greater understanding of who can see what across the org. We'll help organizations implement data loss prevention policies. This is a really, really important step for organizations that are skeptical of kind of what we can see with Copilot tools and also with what could potentially be shared outside of the organization. And finally, we would just do a general IT security assessment around your 365 environment, really encapsulating all of these pieces, but also looking outside of your 365 to ensure that your security suite is ready for this type of tool to be within your environment as well. After the initial piloting phase of any of these projects, we want to move into what comes next. And I think this has been really the most fun part for me at Godelnet, is working with our teams to figure out, hey, what are we doing with this? And how can this be used independently on our projects team, on our consulting team, on our sales and AMs team? It's really wonderful just being able to see all of the different types of functionality that a tool like this can provide. So when we move on from the piloting phase, we want to get into that big piece here, ROI. If we're making an investment, how do we get anything out of this? How do we ensure that anything we put in is something that we're going to get that back out and make gains on that? Going back to those early steps in piloting, we want to help you track those metrics and in alignment with those established KPIs to figure out what's our growth here. Are we having success with this team versus that team? And what are the functions that are successful? We also want to monitor for error reduction and quality improvements. So are we making better decisions? Are we able to make those decisions quicker? And see just what is the actual change that's happening within our organization. Finally, just looking at employee satisfaction day to day. Are employees more satisfied now that they don't have to have that same administrative burden as they did before Copilot? Finally, we work to help employees kind of calculate that productivity gains and cost savings across the board to just see what are the benefits that we have here with Copilot. From here, we help with planning that broader rollout, taking those pilot results and determining validity for expansion using a business case. So if there are areas that were more successful than others, prioritizing those for license expansions and putting that into use immediately following that pilot period versus maybe deciding, hey, this team didn't find as much success and we're not seeing that immediate ROI. This helps us prioritize, hey, what is our growth here and what is the direction that we are going on our AI journey as an organization. We also want to find openings. So identify additional departments and use cases that maybe we didn't think of for that initial pilot period. So what are the areas that we haven't even really explored yet? I know we were just talking last night. We are in Indiana for our new Indiana office opening. And we were sitting there with our CEO and our COO last night. And two things really stuck with me in the conversation that we were having about Copilot and our journey up to this point. One, we had an engineer at the table with us as we were having this conversation. And our CEO looked over at him and just said, wait, Anthony, you don't have Copilot yet? Now you do. Opened up that license immediately because he knew that Anthony would be able to find that value instantly. And we knew that we've had engineers in similar roles who have been able to find that value. So the expansion piece there was clear, evident, and easy for him to kind of give that sign off on. And the other part of that, sorry, I know I've spaced out on that one. The other part of that is focusing on areas where we've still seen, where we still identify potential growth in our own organization. So discussing how different teams, such as our projects team, could start utilizing Copilot agents or SharePoint agents directly within our project folders to help make our decision-making process a little bit easier and our analysis process a little bit easier. From here, we want to go on to general education, spreading this out across the organization. So focusing on educating teams on how to make the most out of these AI tools, planning a phased rollout to manage this change effectively, not immediately stepping into a broad company-wide rollout where we might not see all those benefits up front. And then establish ongoing governance and optimization process utilizing that COE model where our initial partners, the initial people who went in on this and had that early investment into Copilot, are now our governance board. The people with the most experience, the people with the most knowledge, who are able to say, hey, these are the areas that we want to focus on growth, or these are the areas where we want to have a little bit more patience and really just be careful as we're going forward. We also want to support you in that continuous growth process. Once we have clients who are fully established within the world of Copilot, we want to ensure that those clients are finding continued success going forward. So we're working with different clients that we've started this pilot group process with to first just go deeper. Exploring advanced Copilot capabilities and integrations, and in some instances, figuring out if there are other tools that are more useful for that client than Copilot. While Copilot is an incredible tool because of the way that it embeds directly into your 365 data, there are other wonderful tools out there that can just potentially be better models for what you are trying to accomplish. If that's just a certain type of thinking, a certain tone, or a certain type of production quality, there are definitely other tools out there that we've helped clients work with and experiment with to grow their implementation. We also want to continue working with our clients for best practices and ensuring that as we go forward and this landscape continues to change, that we are looking at what is out there and ensuring that we are supporting our clients in the best way possible with future recommendations, future policy recommendations, and just all around general support around what we are doing with that AI space. Third, we want to be a community partner to help you build that COE model within your organization and help you potentially connect with other organizations who are using Copilot and other tools to further their AI journey. And finally, we want to help our clients keep current and understand what's coming next, just for the cutting edge of this ever-changing and quickly changing field, and also what comes after that. One thing that we wanted to bring up here, just on the kind of capabilities, or basically that training side of that, is some really, really wonderful tools that are out there, or trainings that are out there and provided by LinkedIn right now. The AI skills pathway is awesome. It focuses not just on Copilot, but on AI tools in general, including ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, Perplexity. Courses on this are free through July 31st. So anything out there that is interesting you or that you are feeling curious about in the AI space, this is an incredible free opportunity to explore that a little bit further, practice some of your skills, and also just start your learning journey with AI if you haven't done so yet. With that, we will transition over to questions. I meant to say this up top. We have the chat portion, I believe, is currently disabled, but chat and Q&A are on. If there are any questions about AI in general, Copilot, Gedelnet, and what we are currently doing with Copilot, please feel free to throw that into the Q&A section or the chat section. And also, we have a worksheet that we are sharing right now to help you look a little bit at your own organization and determine where you are within this AI readiness process. A little bit of a self-evaluation that we can also definitely help out with if you have any questions from there. So I will leave just a second here to allow for any other questions to pop up there. There is a free version of Copilot as well. Thank you very much for that question. The free version of Copilot, of course, is this is a really great distinction to make in here. The free version of Copilot is Copilot for Web, and that is Copilot Chat for Web. On the free side of Copilot, you can use it as a normal chatbot like you would ChatGPT or Claude, any of those general types of models. The only thing that it doesn't do, the very large thing that free version does not do for you is integrate into your work environment. So you can't pull anything from your Outlook, Teams, SharePoint. That is still blocked off from that free version. The free version is a great starting point for just understanding some of the capabilities of Copilot and how that model can work for you from a discussion standpoint, but doesn't allow you to get into those more advanced features. But thank you again for that question, Vic. Well, if there are any other questions here, if there's anything that you want to ask directly, I will provide my contact information here. If you would like to discuss Copilot further, discuss what Copilot can do within your organization, or just really want to sit down and chat AI in general, I would love to sit down and chat with you. So please feel free. Here's my number and email address to just reach out to me directly. And I would be happy to sit down, spend 30 minutes just discussing what Copilot can do for you. Thank you all very, very much for the time today. Greatly appreciate it. And please reach out if there's anything that we can do to help you further your AI journey.